let's start with a little orientation about medicines itself. So, can anyone tell why do we take medicines? Why do we take medicines? Any of you? Yes, sir. To eliminate some sort of troubles. Okay. To cure a disease. Okay. Improve health. Very good. So, all the three are there. So, to eliminate symptoms, to cure a disease, or to feel better and improve health. So, these are the reasons why we take medicines. All of us understand that. But what if taking medicines gives rise to some kind of a problem? Can medicine be a risk? It can be a risk sometimes, right? So, when the solution becomes the problem, there arises the need to describe, analyze and characterize the problem so that you can resolve the problem. So, the risks of medicines are the chances that something unwanted or unexpected could happen to you when you use them. So, that is the risk associated with medicines. So, risks could be less serious, something like an upset stomach, or it can be something very serious like a liver damage. So, it can range from here to here. It can be fatal at times. It can be very trivial. Sometimes you don't even recognize it. So, now the most important question, do all medications have risks? Okay, I will give you 4 options. Okay, I have not projected that there. I'll give you 4 options. Only one of these options is correct. Okay. So, first option is all medicines are safe. Yes or no? Approved medicines are safe. No? Okay. All medicines are risky. No medication is without risk. So, I kept it to the last so that you easily identified it. But that's the whole way in which you should look at it. You should not look at the statement that all medications are risky, because we are all taking medications for the purpose of benefit. So, if you talk about the scenario where all of them have risks, it appears as if the risks are more and the benefits are less. That's the reason why initially some people used to say risk-benefit profile of a drug. I always prefer to say, even if it's a little difficult to say phonetically, I always say benefit-risk profile, because we are here for the benefit, not for the risk. So, the no medicine is without risk is the answer. So, now no medicine is without risk. So, what should we do? Not take medicines at all? Many medications have side effects, warnings and drug interactions, as you can see from the label. So, it is important to understand your treatments, expected results and alternative medical options. So, if you have a problem after you are prescribed the medicine, you take it, you develop some rashes or something, you go to the doctor, tell the doctor, what will the doctor do? First thing is, if it is a recurring medicine, they will stop the drug, and to treat the condition, they will give you another drug, right? So, that is how we normally address adverse events. But one more step needs to be done is reporting the adverse event to the next level, either to the government or to the pharma company which manufactured the drug. So, that is how we start the process of pharmacovigilance. That the first step is reporting the drug, reporting the event. So, pharmacovigilance is the beating heart of therapeutics. We say this is because all medicines that we are using are used for the benefit, as I already told you. Nobody likes the risks. So, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to preserve the benefits while removing the risks from while we are taking medicines. So, how do we do that? By analyzing all the effects of a medicine and see how we can remove the negative effects. So, without pharmacovigilance, there would be no way to assess the effectiveness of a medicine in comparison to the adverse effects. Pharmacovigilance rigorously monitors the benefit-risk profile of medicines to improve patient care and reduce adverse effects. So, this is the whole aspect of the concept of pharmacovigilance. So if you go to the WHO definition, pharmacovigilance is the science and activities pertaining to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or other drug-related problems. So this definition itself we can talk for one day. Very quickly I'll tell you. Detection is identifying something is not in order, something is different. Assessment is assessing about this problem, trying to gather some knowledge and why this color alone came differently. You assess and understand. Assess, that is the assessment. Understanding is how, if this has happened in several other places, if this has happened last year, all those knowledge you combine and you develop an understanding, enlightenment, that is understanding. And with all this, what you do is you try to prevent it from happening again. So if you are not able to prevent, all these steps are useless. So pharmacovigilance, the aim of pharmacovigilance is prevention of this adverse event happening to the same individual or to other individuals in future by doing this process of detection, assessment and understanding. And what do we detect, assess, understand and prevent? We are preventing adverse effects. Adverse effects is, as I just mentioned, you take a medicine, there is something that you don't want that happens along with what you want. Or sometimes what you want doesn't happen also, but what you don't want happens, that is adverse effect. Or other drug-related problems. When you say other drug-related problems, it is related to things like drug-drug interaction, food-drug interaction and those kind of things. So all these are coming within the ambit of the subject called pharmacovigilance. So literally pharmacovigilance means watching the drug. So it doesn't mean that you keep a tablet here and keep watching it. It is figuratively what it means is that you see how the drug evolves in the, you observe, rather than see I would use the word observe. You observe how the drug's profile evolves over the years and how you proactively take some steps, reactively take some steps to ensure that the benefits are preserved and the risks are reduced. And if this is not possible, how can we protect people from the risks that are associated while still keeping the drug as a reserve for scenarios where the benefit is needed? Or if this also doesn't work, the drug is very toxic, there is no use in keeping the drug where the benefit is little, 5% benefit is there, but for that 5% you will have to endure a risk of 95%, then you remove the drug from the market. So all this happens because of pharmacovigilance. So basically what we are trying to tell you here is that any drug which is there for usage, for human use or for any veterinary use also for that matter, the benefit has to far outweigh the risks. If the risks far outweigh the benefits, then the drug does not need to be there. But why is pharmacovigilance important is because the step of banning the drug is the last reserve step. If you do that earlier, what happens is you lose the drugs also. So pharmacovigilance not only takes care of the patients, it also takes care of the makes sure that the good drugs stay in the market. For example, I'll quickly tell you a story. There was one physician called William McBride. What he did is he gave a drug called thalidomide to pregnant women because they were suffering from morning sickness and vomiting. So because of that drug, what happened is 1 year later, he himself identified many of the babies were born without limbs. The condition was called phocomelia, and he was the first person who reported this, and this is actually the birth of pharmacovigilance starts from here. So then it was realized that it happened because of the drug, and the drug was given to a pregnant woman. So he had the logic of giving it because there was no rule preventing any drug to be given to a pregnant woman at that point of time. And why the logic he gave is because the drug, he went through the reports of animal studies, and the animal studies said that there is no effect on the embryo. Okay, so even though there was no effect on the animal embryo, but still human babies were affected. And because he notified this, if you look at the phocomelia cases and all, it's very pathetic. Like the kids will be having no limbs at all, like seal-like limbs. All the 4 limbs will be just like small flaps like this. So their lifetime is obviously limited. So it's a very pathetic thing. If you look at it from a sentimental point of view, you will feel like you want to eliminate the drug forever. If you think the drug as a villain, and if you're a revenge-seeking person, what you do, you go and kill the villain, right? In all movies, that's what we do. But if you look at it that way, the problem is the drug is gone. But here, as much as in real life, no one is a hero, no one is a villain. We are all grey. So if you keep this, what pharmacovigilance did was, it studied the issue, then realized that the problem was because this drug was given to pregnant women. If it had been given to non-pregnant women, nothing would have happened. But we understand the issue was that the morning sickness was the condition which is part of pregnancy. That's why it was given. So the drug was stopped from being given to for these conditions, and the drug was kept as reserve. It was not removed from the market. Today, nobody gets phocomelia because everyone knows that before giving thalidomide, first of all, it is given only for rare scenarios. Before giving that, you have to check whether the woman is pregnant or not. So that is a very simple risk management step that was implemented. Because of that, what happened is, nobody gets phocomelia today, but the drug is there. So because the drug is there any benefit, you might ask me? But this is a very important reserve drug for leprosy, that is Hansen's disease and multiple myeloma. If with our vengeance we went and killed the villain, these two people with these two diseases, they will not have this wonderful drug, which is very important for that disease. So that is how you must look at pharmacovigilance. It's a rational, basically it's a science of rationale, that's all. So, so when do we start pharmacovigilance? The moment a drug is discovered, then it goes to preclinical development. Here you have animal studies and all that. Then it goes to clinical development. From here, that is the phase 1 of clinical trials, is where you start looking at the safety of a medicine. And then the drug gets approved if everything goes well. And after the approval, it goes to marketing. And then you keep doing post-marketing surveillance for the first few years. And then as long as the drug is there in the market, you do ongoing pharmacovigilance is going to be there. So it is not that pharmacovigilance can be stopped at some point. As long as the drug is there in the market, you will have to monitor it. Because some drugs have shown results after several years of being in the market, they have shown some negative results as well. So in other words, if you want to stop pharmacovigilance, you have to stop selling the drug. And pharmacovigilance can be stopped only when you sell the drug. And if you want to keep the drug, you will have to do pharmacovigilance. So that's why this field is very important, because the advantage of this field is that it will be there always. This field will never go away. From a career point of view, this is very important for you, because this field has no recession or a downfall or anything. This has to be there as long as any drug is there in the market. So why do we need pharmacovigilance on an ongoing basis? Is because the evidence from clinical trials is insufficient, and it is from a small group, it is from a small time period and all that. So in if you want to identify rarer events and all, the evidence is insufficient. And special groups, this morning your director was mentioning that sometimes in India the things are not proper and all. Things are slowly getting better, but the pharmacovigilance is required because safety profile in special groups, in different races and all, you have to see. For that you need pharmacovigilance to ensure the safe use of medicines, to promote rational use of medicines, to encourage public confidence. Public must be confident. No, like if you can ask me, I take this medicine, something happens. What is the process? Is there a process to convey my grievance and take action on this? So for this, to encourage public confidence also, pharmacovigilance is required. Okay. So there are several rules. I won't go into this. These are several guidelines. ICH, COMS are international guidelines, and there are national level regulations. Every country has regulations. US FDA governs the US market. So in the US market, if you have to sell a drug, you need to get US FDA approval, and FDA imposes certain obligations which you have to fulfill if you have to sell the product in the US. EMA for European Union, CDSCO and PVPI for India. So always we use the word FDA approved in India. Don't think that FDA approved means it is approved in the US. It doesn't mean that it is automatically approved in India. In India, the drug has to be approved by the CDSCO or any of the state regulatory authorities. Otherwise, it is not an approved drug. And company-specific documents, this will also define how the pharmacovigilance activities are performed within that particular company. So, based on these documents only, we perform the activities. So, these are several sources of safety information. It can come from a doctor, from a patient, from literature, from the regulatory authorities themselves. They can send you some cases, from industry partners, clinical trials. You do some survey of patients, like patient support programs, market research programs, social media. From all these, you get safety information. So, the industry is supposed to carry out certain activities for keeping their license intact. If they want to sell the drug and keep the license intact, they have to do all these activities, maintain a system file, a literature review they'll have to do regularly. They have to collate and analyze the ADRs. They have to do signal management, risk management. Several activities are there. I'll not go into the details. The focus is not this, so I'll not go into the details. Typically, the process is, as I told you, one case forms an individual case safety report. From that, you can assess the signal, if there is any signal that needs to be addressed. And aggregate reports is over a period of time, you collate reports and see. And you also get reports from different places and collate them. That is called aggregate reports. And you identify any risk associated with that. For example, the example I gave you, the risk was that pregnant women were given this drug and the risk was very high. But the risk management step was a very simple step that was effective, asking the woman for their last menstrual date and then giving the drug. So that sorted out the problem for her. So risk management was 100% effective when it was taken. And the risk was also 100% almost. If anybody has taken thalidomide, almost the baby developing seal limbs was 100% a possibility. So risk management is taking a pragmatic step in order to ensure that the benefit is preserved while the risk is avoided. So what can happen if pharmacovigilance is done properly and if a drug is found to be at fault? The worst thing that can happen is the drug can be withdrawn if the risk outweighs the benefit, or it can be restricted to approved indication or population, which is what I just said in the example of thalidomide. Risk minimization activities can be, the government can say, you take some risk minimization activities, and if you want to sell the drug, you will have to show me proof that you have done all these activities. That can be an regulation that the government can put. And they can simply ask you to update the product label with the warnings and contraindications. And the least simple thing is to conduct a post-authorization safety study. This is very, there seems to be some problem, but we don't know what it is. So please conduct a post-authorization means after the marketing, you still do a clinical trial like study for some time, and then you submit the results, then only your license will be valid. So all these things regulatory agencies can say. So why I am putting this slide is because there are so many implications of not performing pharmacovigilance. So how does this become a career? How does this become a business or career opportunity exactly? So now coming to that career. So I gave you all this background because there are so many activities that need to be performed, and these are regulatory obligations for pharma companies. That is, if they don't do these activities, they will have to be facing the action from the regulatory authorities. And if they don't do this, if the regulatory authorities take serious action, they cannot sell the product in the market. So in a way, pharmacovigilance is a compliance activity, which if not fulfilled, you will not be able to do. For example, you don't have a driving license. Even if you have the best car in the world, you can't drive it. So you have to fulfill the regulation, you will have to undergo the training, you will have to get the license, and then only you can drive the car, right? All of you will agree with that. So similarly, this is very important for pharma industry. Now, pharma industry can do that in-house by employing some bright people like you, or they can also outsource it to companies like Oviya MedSafe, where we do the activities on behalf of them. So this is what makes pharmacovigilance a business and career opportunity. So why this career opportunity is important is because most of the world's pharmacovigilance happens in India today. Like this industry started way back in 2007 and I have been fortunate to be part of it since then. At that point of time, probably 200, 300 people in India knew about pharmacovigilance. Today we have about 30,000, 40,000 people working in the industry across different companies across the country. So how this has become important is because regulatory requirements are now increasing. Every company has a lot of regulatory requirements to fulfill, and to fulfill that they need to have more people, they need to have huge teams working on that. So to do that, doing it in the Western world is very expensive and they cannot scale up so easily also. Say in India, you can, if you want to recruit 500 PhDs also, you can recruit in a matter of 1 month. But it is not possible to do that in the US or in the Western world anywhere. It will take years together. So that scale is a very big advantage. So global pharma majors and PV service providers see India as the preferred destination for PV. Indian drug companies which have global PV departments, which have global sales, they have their PV departments in-house and they recruit staff. And PVPA and CDCO, the regulatory authority, as I just mentioned, they have created government jobs already and this is set to increase. Consulting, auditing and training fields, these are available for people who have good experience in pharmacovigilance. So where do they get placed? Pharma biotech companies, pharmacovigilance service providers like Oviya MedSafe, as I mentioned, regulatory agencies like FDA or European Medicines Agency, contract research organizations like very big CROs like IQVIA and all that. PV tech companies, like there are companies which are IT companies which develop products for pharmacovigilance. Medical colleges, hospitals, public health organizations, all of these have some kind of pharmacovigilance openings. So now coming to the most important aspect, who all can be suitable for pharmacovigilance jobs? Medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, nursing, allied health, life sciences. This is how it is segregated. Each one of them has a different segment of activity. So here we see biotechnology, and I thought since I am coming here, I did some research to find out why biotechnology is more significant here and how biotechnology is more suitable for this industry. The advantages for biotechnology students is that you have a good understanding of biological processes. You are knowledgeable about drug development. You are proficient in data analysis and statistics. You have an eye for cutting edge technology in AI. AI is just one example. Cutting edge technology, there are so many aspects. You are communicative and detailed oriented, as far as I have seen, especially from KCT. I am very proud to say this. Research oriented mindset, capable of critical thinking. So these are some things which I have identified in my experience of running an organization for 12 years and working with some, hiring some very good biotech people and having seen them grow in their career. This is my observation. This is what makes biotech people very suitable for pharmacovigilance. So if you feel what you have listened so far, if this is a field that is of interest to you, I know biotech has several ramifications. You can go in any direction. I am sure you will not have any connection between the previous speaker and myself, that much wide this field is. But if you are interested in this field, these are all the things that you will be doing as I discussed so far. And these are the advantages you already have as biotech students, especially from a reputed institution like KCT. And aware of ethical aspects. Again, I have to say this also. Your director was alluding to that in the morning, which I liked very much. So the nature of the job, how will it be? Like you will be monitoring sources such as medical and scientific literature for PV purposes. You will be performing data entry and coding of the adverse event reports in the safety database. Now these are all getting automated slowly, but this segment is still open. assessing case reports for seriousness, causality, and expectedness. These are all technical terms. I don't want to go into the detail for lack of time. Writing case narratives and submitting the case to the regulatory authority, as I just mentioned, that this is a regulatory requirement, and preparation of aggregate reports, signal reports, and RMPs in later days. So here, the first two are pretty much basic. These are now slowly getting automated, or I would say swiftly getting automated, and many of the data intake in the larger companies, source intakes, they have become automated, but still the critical thinking and the causality and this aspect is still open, and a lot of opportunities there. Typically, one would join as a trainee PV or drug safety associate. PV executive or specialist will be the next level after a few years. Then a team lead, a PV manager. This is how the career will look like. And obviously, when you reach this stage, you will be managing a team. Till the first two stages will be as individual contributor. So the last slide. Any pharmacovigilance job seeker needs to have these prerequisites. So please remember, only if you fulfill most of these criteria, you will be able to be successful in PV. Because it is not, as much as I explained it in a passionate way, it is not a field where everyone can make a mark, because there are certain specific things you need to have. You need to have a basic understanding of pharmacovigilance as a science, which I tried to give within the limited time. I gave you some background, but it's an appetizer. You have to go and read up yourselves. You have to be able to comprehend medical terms. You need to have knowledge of regulatory and industry PV practices. See, this knowledge you can develop later also after coming into the field, but you must have the interest to do this. And excellent analytical and communication skills is very important, because without this field cannot work. Because in most scenarios, this will be a global industry. If you work for 2 years or 3 years in India, then you go to US or UK, you can use the same experience and continue the job there, because this job is there in every country. So and at the same time, you will be working with team members from across the globe, invariably if you are working in a big company. So this excellent analytical and communication skills is a must. It is not a good to have, it's a must, it's a need to have. And you need to be having the competency in using computers, especially MS Office. You will have to be thorough. Excel particularly, this has to be, you have to be thorough in that. Of course, there is a lot of automation coming here, but still the basics remain the basics. And there needs to be an attitude for continuous learning and development, because last year what we did, we are not doing the same thing today in our organization. I am sure it is the case in many across the industry also. So you must not say that we have always done it this way, so we will do it this way. That won't work. You need to have self-confidence, sincerity, and integrity, because you are dealing with human data. Whatever mistake you do could cost a human life somewhere, which you will not know. If you are working in a hospital, you make a mistake, a patient dies, you will see in front of your eyes. But here you will make a mistake, but you will not know where, who, in which country, which person dies. You will not know. On the other hand, positively putting it, if you do your job properly, you will be saving some unseen person in some other world. You will be saving them without anybody knowing it. So sincerity is very important, and integrity. You can never have an integrity compromise in this field, because again, it deals with human health. And mindset for teamwork across cultures is very, very important. You cannot say, I am an individual, I will not work along with the team. I won't get along with this person. I cannot work under this person. All this you cannot say, because this is very important. You have to be a team player. Then only you will be successful in this field. So that's it. I don't know if I took more time than given to me. I hope this gave you an idea about what we are doing, and how pharmacovigilance can be one of the career opportunities for biotech. And if you have time, I'm okay to answer questions as well. Thank you.